Hello, this is Blue Star, Defender of Equestria, and this is my next Focus On video. The Cutie Mark Crusaders' new Cutie Marks and why their mission is just so awesome. Yes, I'm so proud of you Cutie Mark Crusaders for getting your Cutie Marks. But I'm even prouder that you've been given a truly special mission. Alright, so it's time to get on to the actual analysis of their Cutie Marks. For starters, I definitely think that these are what I like to call true Cutie Marks. Cherilise is a true Cutie Mark, because you wouldn't look at this and think, teacher. Isn't it obvious? No, it's much more complicated than that. But I do have to say, when making a whole bunch of background ponies, it's way easier to, give them like bowling pins for bowling ponies, rather than trying to give them, these kind of true Cutie Marks that are much more than they appear. But I'm glad that in this case, they did give them true Cutie Marks, and I'm very glad for that, yes! For starters, there's the shield, which I believe is basically, sort of maybe taken from the Cutie Mark Crusaders' original logo, if you want to call it that. And not to mention, since they are the Cutie Mark Crusaders, so, Crusades, Knights, shields sort of fall into that kind of category. That's kind of a cool idea as well, because they are the guardians of the Cutie Marks, in a way, you could also say. So, yo. Then there's the three colors that are in the background. These are basically their hair colors, so I like that. So this is meant to represent each one of them on each one of their Cutie Marks, which is pretty cool. I have to say, it's slightly different, but I'm certain this is meant to represent each one of their hair colors, and by extension, each one of them, so that's cool. Yeah, so that's one of the reasons why these Cutie Marks are so cool, is that, it's like, we all have the same Cutie Mark, and it's like they're all part of each other's Cutie Mark. That's just so cool! So now moving on to the specific things that make each of their Cutie Marks, well, specific and unique to them. There's basically an outer and an inner object. The outer object is, well, exactly that. It is their outward appearance in a way, or what you might think is their first impressions of them. For instance, Sweetie Belle is the star, Apple Bloom is basically apples, the apple family and everything, and Scootaloo is basically a Pegasus. But the inner object, I think, revolves around the inside. What is their special talent, or what is their true character on the inside, I think is sort of the basic principle of how these two objects are operating. Let's start off with Sweetie Belle's, because I think it's the most straightforward. Her first image is a star, which, considering that she's Sweetie Belle, basically, the Belle is a woman who gets favoritism at a party or something like that. Basically, is the star of that party. That sort of fits her as well. So she's the star. And her inner object is a musical note, and I think that fits her very well because she's very musically talented. She can sing and maybe do some other musical things, so that fits her very well. Now moving on to Apple Bloom's. Her outer object is pretty straightforward. It's an apple. She's part of the apple family and everything, so that makes perfect sense. The inner object is a heart, which, at first I'm not really sure how that fits in, but I think maybe it's because I guess she has the biggest heart of the three of them, or, she's understanding and those sorts of things, so I think that's probably what that means. She's sort of the unofficial leader of the Cutie Mark Crusaders, even though they sort of don't really have one. You could say that she's the heart of the Cutie Mark Crusaders itself. So, I don't know if that's true, but an interesting thought. Now, moving on to Scootaloo's. At first, I thought this was really straightforward, but when I think about it a little bit more, I was like, I'm not so sure. Her outer object is a wing, which at first I thought, oh, okay, she's the Pegasus of the group, but there has to be more to it than that. Her strong suit is not flying, because so far we've yet to actually see her fly, so it sort of doesn't really fit for her to have a wing as her outer mark, but maybe it just simply is that she's a Pegasus. But maybe this might tie into her inner object, which is basically a lightning bolt. And at first I thought, well, Rainbow Dash is basically her sister figure now, so she's sort of the apprentice of Rainbow Dash, so that would fit her very well. And she is a very, very much like a Rainbow Dash character. She's very adventurous, outgoing, and she does crazy stunts and everything. So maybe that's where all this ties in. Where it's like, yeah, on the outside, you'll see her as a Pegasus. But then you might be a little bit disappointed when you see that she can't actually fly. But on the inside, she's definitely a Rainbow Dash. She's definitely strong, determined, and awesome on the inside. Yeah! Just like in Flight to the Finish, it's like, Maybe she'll fly someday, maybe she won't. But she's all kind of awesome anyway, is how I choose to interpret that. So I like that, yes! So I really like these cutie marks because they are all the same cutie mark. They're all a part of each other's cutie marks. That's just so awesome. You know, that's why this is so special, because I don't think this probably happens all that much in Equestria. Is that, yeah, most ponies' cutie marks are about something about themselves. But not too often do other ponies' cutie marks link to other ponies' cutie marks. I think the only other cutie mark that might be that would be Twilight, because she's the element of the magic of friendship, and I think all the little stars are meant to represent her friends. But even so, this doesn't really happen all that often. That's why probably all this magic stuff happens. They're making this bond themselves. They're agreeing to this mission. Do you just want to help other ponies get their cutie marks? It's like, yeah! And it's like at that moment, it's just like they're all agreeing to take on this mission together and, in a way, forming these cutie marks themselves. And that's why this was so awesome and so cool. This isn't about themselves. This is about helping others to find their own cutie marks, and it sort of reaffirms something that I said in Blue Star 1, is those who have the most to learn are in the end the most qualified to teach. Basically because they've been in like the lowest spot they could possibly be when it comes to trying to find their cutie marks. They know what it feels like to have to struggle with finding their cutie mark, and now that they finally found them, now they can go into other ponies and teach them how to find their own cutie marks. I just think that's so awesome, because yeah, it would have been easy in a way to just pick something about each of the Cutie Mark Crusaders, and it's like, oh, Apple Bloom does potions, Sweetie Belle does music, blah 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 blah. This to me is way cooler, because again, this isn't about just them. This is about all of them taking on this mission together, and this is a mission that they're gonna have pretty much for all of their lives, and it's such an awesome mission, because I once called MLP the last fortress of light that stands between the darkness of our world. And I would like to think that this is giving that fortress of light 3 new defenders. Because the main 6, yes, do defend Equestria in a physical way from time to time, but they're also defending it by spreading the magic of friendship throughout Equestria. And while the Cutie Mark Crusaders is a slightly different mission, they're doing the same kind of thing. They're going out and teaching ponies, in this case, something about themselves and helping them to grow and evolve and to move beyond themselves. And I think that's just so awesome and so cool. And certainly in our world, this is definitely a great message and a great role model to send to everyone. Because let's face it, our culture is very selfish and very self-centered and just So to have the Cutie Mark Crusaders have cutie marks that aren't about themselves but are about serving others, that's just so awesome, and it gives me hope. And the best part is, they're still the Cutie Mark Crusaders. They're still on the same mission that they were on ever since season 1. But this time, they're crusading for other ponies' cutie marks. And that's just so awesome, and I'm just so proud of you, Cutie Mark Crusaders. Okay, I think I better go now before my armor starts to rust. So, that is the end of my video on the Cutie Mark Crusaders cutie marks. This is Blue Star. Stay strong and pony on. Blue Star out.